last night, as I said, the Nets, big game, not only for, just it's arguably the two top teams in the East, going head to head and, playing just to send a message to one another in case they do meet in the playoffs. And the Nets look great most of the game.
Even though Durant didn't have a big night,
right. He came on late. Ended up with 26. But, yeah, he only had, I think, 11 maybe through the first
three quarters.
Right? Something like that, 9, 11, something like that. But they were up 9 with a little over 3 minutes left, and that's when you and I were getting off the air, and it looked like they had a really nice statement win, and especially when Chris Middleton is out of the game, which I thought was a bad ejection. Did you see he was ejected for a flagrant 2, which I thought was a bad call? It could have been a flagrant 1, but I don't think he should have been ejected.
Yeah, everything now is definitely on heightened. Almost anything janky, and they're ready to toss you out. It's a different NBA.
Yeah, it was bad. But I'll be honest, there was a part of me thinking, as it looked like the Nets were rolling to a victory, that unfortunately some will diminish the victory because Middleton was gone, so it wouldn't be as big. But lo and behold, the Bucks came storming back. Nets made some errors, gave up a bunch of offensive rebounds, and Kevin Durant had 2 chances to win, one in regulation, missed a 15-footer, not a bad shot over Wesley Matthews and Giannis Antetokounmpo. And then in overtime, Durant, after scoring 6 points in overtime, missed a potentially game-winning 3-pointer just before the buzzer. Rob, I don't fault Durant for his shots. They weren't bad shots. But if you look at that last play in overtime, the inbounder, Goran Dragic, was wide open for a game-winning layup. And Durant, like I said, took the 3. Wasn't a horrible shot, especially for a guy like him who can hit it. But the best play was to hit Dragic for the layup, and they win. And I'm not really jumping on Durant, but I think that in the last 15 years or so, there's become this feeling in basketball, people call it hero ball. This hero ball mentality that your best player has to take the last shot. And a lot of times they don't even run a legitimate play. It's like 5 out, give it to so-and-so and let him just go to work. 4 low, give it to so-and-so, your 4 other players on the baseline. Give it to so-and-so and let him go 1-on-1, 1-on-2, whatever it may end up being. And I don't think that's the best way to play basketball. I don't think it's the most effective way to get a potentially game-winning shot. And I don't think it should be the best player has to take the shot. And I point back to, Rob, Michael Jordan, the greatest clutch player of all time, in my estimation, in minis. He passed off to Steve Kerr in the finals. Kerr hit the game-winning shot. The famous double nickel game for Jordan, when he, had 55 at the Garden when he returned from baseball. I think it was like 5 games after his return from baseball. And you remember that, Rob, dished it off to Bill Winnington for the game-winning basket at the end. So we could talk more and more. How many times did Robert Horry, not Shaq or Kobe, hit the game winner for the Lakers? Derek Fisher, the .4 game. They were looking for Kobe. He was covered. They went to Fisher. He hits the basket with the .4 seconds left against San Antonio. I was at that game. And we could go on and on. And I just think that the best thing to do, again, that play, and I've never jumped on the kill LeBron bandwagon for passing rather than shooting in some of these late scenarios. Now, there are some where he made the wrong decision. All right? I'm not saying every time, because sometimes he's passing out for an equally difficult shot. But in this case and some others when you're hitting a teammate, he might not be a star. So what? Steve Kerr wasn't a star. You know, you're hitting a teammate that's open. They're NBA players. They can make shots. And again, I'm not killing Durant, but I just think that mentality, Rob, should go in the NBA. I think it should be, let's run something where maybe our best players get the ball and they make something happen, whether it's a shot for them or creating for a teammate. But it shouldn't be this feeling like, oh, we got to go to Durant. We got to go to Kyrie. We got to go to, Giannis or whatever it is. So that's my little rant based off of that last shot.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Fundamentally, it sounds good. But I can remember LeBron, it was his last year in Cleveland, where he passed to George Hill underneath the basket, you remember? And then
for a layup, yeah.
Yeah, George Hill didn't make it or had to take free throws and missed. Oh, he's an 80% free throw shooter. Not in the playoffs, he's not an 80% free throw shooter. And there are times and circumstances. I don't have a problem with that one. Well, there's times and circumstances where there's a reason somebody's open or there's a reason you'd rather them take the shot. I'm not saying, Chris, you're fundamentally or ideally, if somebody's at the basket and he has an easy layup, sure, he should get the ball. But I don't always believe, like sometimes people are left open because people would rather them have the ball in their hands rather than the big star. I don't have a problem with Durant missing shots. He's made big shots as well. So
a couple.
A couple, but I'm still cool with it. I would rather Durant than somebody, and I'm not saying that last night I didn't see him wide open like you did.
He was the inbounder. Giannis was laying off of him so he could help on Durant if he wanted. Sure enough, Dragic passes it in. Giannis goes to help on Durant, and Dragic goes to the basket. It was like 1.6 seconds left, so he had time to hit him. But, it would have been the right play.
So I just think, whenever I hear that, it's the right basketball move. Sometimes I don't want the right basketball move. I want my best player to take the shot and give us a chance to win or lose, and I can live with that. If they sag off a lesser player and he's open and he misses it, I don't feel any better about it. Oh, yeah, well, he was open. That was the right shot, And the same thing, I mean, you're right. Michael Jordan and what he did, it worked out for Mike. If they missed those shots during Michael Jordan's career, people might look differently or think differently of it, Chris. But I remember the Steve Kerr one because we saw it in the documentary, Last Dance, where he's like, the ball's coming to you. Like he told Steve
they were
Kerr,
double him.
Right, to be ready. And I love that. I mean, Steve Kerr he wasn't shocked he was getting the ball because Jordan mapped it out. The ball is coming to you. Be ready. I'm going to give it to you. So there are certain circumstances where I'm cool with it. Others, I don't have a problem with a star taking a shot.
Well, I'm
not forcing it. If there's two people,
if
there are 2 people, 3 people in his face, I don't want him taking that shot.
Well, no, there were 2 people in Durant's face last night. I mean, that 3-pointer was contested. He got a decent look. But I'm just saying, like, this notion that the best player has to take the shot. Like I said, Robert Earl was never the best player. Derek Fisher certainly was never the best player. But I remember Magic Johnson, and we all remember the famous junior sky hook in the finals against Boston. Magic told me he was a third option on that play. The first option, I believe, was Worthy. James Worthy. The second was Kareem on the block, and Magic was the third. And it wasn't a big deal. Rob, we talked about Jordan. Remember in the finals against Phoenix when John Paxson hit the shot? So Jordan, the people don't remember this play. And I'm going to bring it up because if that happened today, it would be viewed much differently. Jordan gets the ball in the backcourt. This is the finals against Phoenix, game 6, I believe. And Frank Johnson, who's like 6'2", is guarding Jordan. Jordan kicks it up to half court to Scottie Pippen. Pippen pushes it down the middle, kicks it out to Horace Grant on the wing, or like the kind of the baseline wing. And Grant kicks it to Paxson, or it might have been, it should have been, I'm sure it was Grant. Kicks it to Paxson, and Paxson hits the shot. Jordan isn't even involved in the play, which is fine because you got other good teammates that can make plays. If that happens today, Some people are, Jordan didn't want it. He didn't have the ball. Like, come on. These are all NBA players that are capable of making shots, especially last night where Dragic had what would have been a layup or a short, shot off the glass or something. But I just don't. I'm just against the notion of just give it to so-and-so and clear out. And they're going to come double him, and he's going to have to take a test shot. Everybody knows what's coming. How about running a little action and trying to get somebody a good, clean shot? That's all I'm saying.